It's me. So, before I get into today's episode, I wanted to say a very special thanks to Castbox for featuring me on their app. You know, as an independent show, this means the world to me. And I'm a small show, but I've got big energy. And so, thank you so much, Castbox. And if you haven't checked out Castbox, definitely recommend you do so. You can listen to millions of podcasts, including Small Talk with Sheila, on their app, and it's all free. So please check them out, and let's get into today's episode.
So I gotta be honest with you. I actually didn't want to come in here to record today. I wasn't feeling it. I almost did not show up until I remembered the story that I was going to share with you. And I also remembered Jim Carrey in Yes Man. So you know the story of Jim Carrey. He goes to this personal development seminar, which I know a thing or two about, and he is encouraged to say yes to his life. And because he does, everything in his life changes. And I am going to tell you the story about how I said yes to Radio Disney 1580 and how I became Sassy Sheila. Are you ready? Because let's get into it.
This is our time.
All right, Julian. And if you're wondering, who are you talking to, Julian? He's my editor. And the reason I talk to him is because a lot of times when I'm recording this, it's just me. And I feel like I need someone to talk to. And Julian is also sitting there probably alone when he's editing this. So we're having this para-social editor conversation. Make sense? Makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense, but you got it. Okay. You've seen Yes Man because Yes Man is technically not a rom-com. It's like rom-com adjacent. So I hope you watched it. Welcome to Small Talk with Sheila. I am your host, Sheila. This is a story-driven podcast where we talk about all the small moments in your life that make you the main character of your own rom-com. And I am here to remind you that you don't have to be perfect to love your messy and magical self. Because think about it, every one of our favorite characters is messy and magical. So you know what to do. Light a Sheila candle. By the way, I need to get a Sheila candle in here. It's been a minute, right? Grab a snack and let's get into it. I'm going to drink some water because obviously I look like I'm going to go for a jog later today. Julian, aren't you glad I showed up? Don't I look like I'm about to go jogging? Because this girl should go jogging. Okay, so let's go back to the last episode where we left off. You heard about my very first job at a law firm, Alexander Haas and Audette. If you haven't listened to it, highly recommend that you go back and listen to that episode. You're going to hear about how I quit my job at 11 p.m. and subsequently got a raise. So if you want to hear a little bit more about that, please do. So I am now in law school. I hate law school. I quit law school. I've talked about this before. And I decide on a whim to move to Arizona, the desert, to have my very own Phoenix Rising moment and find myself. So I am now in Arizona. I ended up getting a job rather quickly as a legal assistant. And I'm driving around, just kind of being like, wait a minute. I left law school and here I am doing what I actually didn't want to do to begin with. And so I'm driving around Phoenix, Arizona, amongst the cactus, and I see this building and there's a sign and it says Radio Disney 1580.
Radio Disney World, AM 1580, KMIK, Tempe, Phoenix.
And I'm like, wait, I should work there. So what do? You know that I like to make the first move, right? I met my husband, who was my locksmith, because I made the first move. And so I am a first mover. And so I basically go home, I find the number, and I call the station. And I am like, I want to talk to your station manager. And they somehow put me through to him. And I said, hey, this is Sheila, and I really feel like I should work there. Do you have any openings? And I don't know what it is. I feel like maybe when I was young and dumb, I still do this, by the way. I just kind of go for it. And he's like, okay, come and meet me tomorrow afternoon at 3. My husband told him my dog is going to bark. Don't bark. There she goes. Hold on. Yeah, began recording. So I go there at 3 and I just tell him I'm really excited and I've always, wanted to work at Disney, and he pretty much was like, okay, we always need promotions people. So if you want to come like the next day, maybe with our promotions manager, I'm sure he can get you out on the streets. I was like, on the streets? What does that mean? What does it mean to be on the streets? So basically, in radio, if you don't know, you have those promotions people, right? They're the people with the big tents, the band. We had a big Radio Disney band, and they do promotions for brands. And they were doing one. I remember it was McDonald's. And also, I have to say, this job was really unique. Like working with such an iconic brand as Disney and being out on the street with people made you realize like what it's like to build a brand that people love and trust, because people would follow us to all these McDonald's all over the Phoenix Valley, which is pretty big. We had this wheel and you could spin it to win prizes, and we would get tons of people. And I remember like driving around in this big old like Radio Disney van and feeling like I was iconic. Oh, by the way, this is the best part of the story. When I met with the promotions manager, he's like, okay, well, what's your name going to be? And I was like, what do you mean? And everyone had an on air personality name. And so mine was Sassy Sheila. And so since that day, I became known as Sassy Sheila at Radio Disney 1580. And I would just honestly do anything. I remember I was a DJ at the ice rink on Fridays and Saturday nights and going to all the McDonald's. We had like promotions at YMCA. I was having a lot of fun. The only thing was I wasn't making like that much money. I went to my station manager, Mike Malice. So Michael Malice was the station manager, very like Danny DeVito, okay? Anyways, I'm like, listen, I need to make more money. He's like, you want to do sales? I had no sales experience, and what do I say? Yes. Yes, I will do sales. And I remember I had to call all these car dealerships all around Arizona, and I had to make appointments, and then I had to like go in there, and I had little packages. Like I remember there was like this Britney Spears package and I don't know, Backstreet Boys package. I would basically sell them promotions. And I remember Len Cadillac in Arizona was my very first sale. They wanted to bring in more moms and dads with their Escalade. And so we did this huge promotion. And the thing about it was, you guys, I really had no idea what I was doing. Like, none. I just kept saying yes to things. And then I remember the mall called us. There was a mall in Arizona, and they wanted to do a show, like a mommy and me, a show for the kids weekdays at around 11 a.m. where traffic was pretty light. I remember Michael saying, hey, like, do you have any ideas? And what did I say? Yes, I have ideas. I had no ideas. I remember I came up with this whole concept. It was called Peekaboo Corner with Sassy Sheila, and it was going to be in the middle of the mall. Each week we would learn something different and have guests arrive. And I remember we couldn't actually have a Disney character there just because that would have been really, really pricey and just a lot of like red tape. So I came up with this idea of having a little plush toy mouse called Whispers. And every time Whispers came on stage with me, all the kids had a whisper, which, you guys, like, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but that's pretty genius. And this show was a huge success, all because I said yes. I remember little kids would like write me fan mail and they would bring it to me after the show, which was the sweetest thing. And I remember even going to like Cheesecake Factory, and I felt so cool because sometimes the kids would come up to me like really shy and nervous with their parents and ask for an autograph from Sassy Sheila. And Radio Disney ended up being like this amazing time in my life because, like Jim Carrey, I said yes. I kept saying yes to opportunities. And I've been thinking a lot about this. Like, when you think about every one of your favorite rom-coms, it's all because people say yes. I actually watched Under the Tuscan Sun, which is not work related at all, but she goes and says yes to this trip to Italy. And she sees this villa and she said, yes, I'll buy it. And she just keeps saying yes until she creates the life that she wants. And that's what I want from all of you guys. Like my Radio Disney story, Sassy Sheila should remind you of two things. One, make the first move when it comes to your work life. Like, don't wait to see a job opening on LinkedIn. Find a company you really want to work with and find a way to get to the right person and just say, I want to work there. I think, like, as you get older, we think there's all these rules for work and what we're supposed to do. But if you listen to my first episode, you realize I got a raise all because I quit at 11 p.m. in the middle of the week and said I wasn't coming back. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was sticking up for myself. And by that, I made things work for me. Radio Disney, I had no idea what I was doing. I just saw the sign from my car and I said, yes, I want to work there. And I made the first move. And as the opportunities kept coming my way, I didn't say, oh, I don't know. I've never done sales. Oh, I don't know. I've never created a show for kids in the middle of the mall. I just kept saying yes. And every time I did, things would work out. I'd figure it out along the way. And my life just kept expanding. So if you're in a season right now where you're really stuck, I know there's been like a lot of layoffs recently, and maybe you're feeling, I don't know, like nothing is working out. Like sending your resume through LinkedIn, through the job postings, nothing is happening. Well, could you be a little more creative? Is there a company, a CEO, a person that you could actually pick up the phone and call, or I don't know, slide into their LinkedIn DMs? I mean, if you really want to rom-com your work life, you've got to approach it just like anything else you want in life. You've got to be willing to make the first move, and you've got to be willing to say yes. I have a theory, which honestly could be another podcast episode, is I feel like this generation is all about boundaries and saying no and whatnot. But I really think there's something about saying yes to more things. And you know what? It doesn't have to be forever. Radio Disney was definitely not my forever, but that was one of the jobs that I feel taught me the most and gave me the most opportunities. And it allowed me to go on and do bigger and better things. And all because I had a little bit of chutzpah, a little bit of Jim Carrey energy. So I don't know, take a page from Elle Woods, take a page from Andy and The Devil Wears Prada, take a page from Jim Carrey, maybe take a page from Sassy Sheila, and say yes to your life and start rom-comming your work life because it matters. I want to hear from all of you guys. I want to hear what you're going to say yes to this week. And I'm going to do this too. I'm going to make a first move and I am just going to say yes to opportunities that come my way. And I want to hear all about it. If you're on YouTube and you're listening, send me a little comment. I want to know what you're going to say yes to. If you're listening on any of the apps, please find me on socials, Small Talk with Sheila, or better yet, email me. You guys, email me. I'm giving you my email, Sheila@smalltalkwithsheila.com. As always, if you love this show, please give it a little rating. And if you don't like it, just move along. No, just kidding. Let me know what you think either way. I want to hear it. And if there's someone in your life that you feel like needs to say yes to more things, please send this episode along their way. And this rom-com, oh man, it is just getting started. I think I'm gonna go and have an ice cream cone and go to bed and start all over next week. What do you say? And I'm having one of those I can't ever say that word. Quintessential? Okay, so, I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, but I'm here.